Never knew they locked the door.
They always lock the door, brother. What'd you think?
I don't know. It just never occurred to me.
Hey, what's that?
I figured we might want to vote by ballot.
It's a great idea. We might be able to get this boy elected senator.
Well, how'd you like it?
I don't know. Pretty interesting.
I was falling asleep.
You know, what I mean is, I never sat on a jury before.
Yeah, I sat on juries. One thing that always amazes me is how these lawyers can talk and talk and talk. Even in a case as obvious as this one, I never heard so much talk about nothing.
Well, I guess they're entitled.
Oh, sure, everybody's entitled to a fair trial. I'd be the last one to say anything against that, but sometimes I think we ought to take these tough kids and just slap them down, before they start trouble. Save us a lot of time and money.
Mr. Foreman, what do you say? We started here?
Yeah, let's skip this over with. We've probably all got things to do.
Well, we might as well take a 5-minute break. There's a man in the bathroom.
Are we sitting in order or what?
No.
So what do you think of the case? I enjoyed it. No dead spots, you know what I mean? I think we were lucky we got a murder trial. I figured that's for an assault or a burglary or something like that. I bet those can be dull, huh?
Hey, can you imagine sitting in there for 3 days just for this?
How about that business with the knife? I mean, expecting grown-up people to believe that kind of bullshit.
Well, you gotta expect that, you know what I mean? You know what you're dealing with here.
Yeah. Somebody got a cold?
Flu. I can hardly touch my nose, you know what I mean?
Your arm's all right. Try your life. Oh, this is beautiful. The air conditioner doesn't work. Somebody take a letter to the mayor. Dear Stingy.
I didn't get a chance to see the papers today. Anything new going on?
I was just wondering how the market's closed.
I wouldn't know. You on the exchange or something?
No, I'm a broker.
Hey, I run a messenger service, the Beck and Call Company. My wife's idea. We employ 37 people. Started from nothing.
Come on, Mr. Foreman. Come on, what do you say? Let's go here.
All right, gentlemen, let's take seats.
This better be fast. I got 2 tickets to the ball game tonight, huh? Yankees Cleveland. We got this new kid pitching for us. Majalewski, or whatever his name is anyway. This kid, he's a real bull, I mean, zoom. Talking about a real jug handle, you know what I mean? Zoom. You're quite the baseball fan, huh? Where do you want us to sit?
Well, I was thinking we'd sit in order of jury numbers. 2, 3, 4.
Hey, great, I'm right here.
Well, that's all right with you, gentlemen?
What's the difference?
I think it's reasonable according to numbers.
What do you think of that prosecutor? I beg your pardon? Thought he was very sharp, the way he hammered home his points one by one in logical sequence. Takes a good brain for that. I was very impressed.
Yes, he did an expert job.
He had a lot of drive, that guy, too. Real drive.
That's a big show on the road.
Would you like to sit down? Gentleman at the window. Would you like to sit down?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty tough, isn't it? I mean, the kid just kills his father. Bang, just like that.
Yeah, you analyze the figures on domestic
Oh,
violence.
come on now. What figures? Look, it's those people, I'm telling you. See, they just let the kids run wild up there. Well, maybe it serves them right. You know what I mean?
Where's that elderly gentleman?
He's in the bathroom.
Would you knock on the door, please? Thank you.
Yankee fan?
No,
Milwaukee. Milwaukee? What are you kidding? It's like getting hit on the head with a crowbar once a day. I mean, tell me, who they got? I mean, really, I'm asking you, who they got besides great groundskeepers?
Get started here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Milwaukee. I didn't mean to keep you waiting.
Quite all right. All right, gentlemen, you can handle this any way you'd like to. I have no rules. We can discuss it first and then vote. That's one way. Or we can vote and then see where we stand. That's all I have to say.
I think it's customary to take a preliminary vote.
Yeah, come on, let's vote. Come on. Everyone can all go home.
It's up to you, but let's just remember this is a first-degree murder charge. If we find him guilty, he could die by lethal injection.
I think you all know that.
Huh?
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
Yeah, let's see who's where.
Anyone doesn't want to vote. Let's just remember this has got to be a 12-0 vote either way. That's the law. Everyone ready? All those voting guilty, raise your hand. 1. 11. All those voting not guilty. 11-1 guilty. Now we know where we stand.
Well, there's always one, huh?
So what do we do now?
I guess we talk.
Man,
You don't honestly believe that he's innocent, do you?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, let's be reasonable. I mean, you sat in the courtroom, you heard everything the rest of us did. This man is a dangerous killer. You can see it.
But man, he's 18 years old.
He's old enough. He knifed his own father 4 inches into the chest.
Pretty obvious. I mean, I was convinced from the very first day.
Sure, who wasn't? I really think this is one of these open and shut things. I mean, they proved it a dozen different ways. Would you like me to list them for you?
No.
Well, then what do you want?
I just want to talk.
Well, what's there to talk about? 11 men here agree. I mean, nobody had to think twice about it except you.
Hey, look, let me ask you a question. Do you really believe that boy's story?
I don't know if I believe his story or not. Maybe I don't.
So then what'd you vote not guilty for?
Well, look, 11 men voted guilty. I just don't find it easy to raise my hand and send a boy to prison for life, or maybe even to be executed, without talking about it first.
Who says it's easy for me?
No one.
Well, because I voted fast.
No.
I honestly think the kid's guilty. I couldn't change my mind if you talked to
Hey,
100
I'm not
years.
trying to change your mind. We're talking about a person's life here. We can't just decide in 5 minutes. Suppose we're wrong.
Suppose we're wrong. Suppose the whole building fell on my head. You can suppose anything you want.
That's right.
So then what difference does it make how long it takes? I mean, if we honestly think the kid's guilty, suppose we finish in 5 minutes, so what?
Suppose we take an hour. Your game doesn't start till 8 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah, Slugger, be my guest.
Who's got something to say?
Not me.
I'm willing to put in an hour.
Huh?
Greg, you know, I heard a pretty good story last night. Yeah, this woman, she goes running into the doctor's office. Right? Big old booty, ain't got no drawers on.
Excuse me, that's not why we're sitting here.
All right, then you tell me, what are we sitting in here for?
Well, maybe for no reason. I don't know, but look, this kid has been knocked around all of his life. He was born in a slum. He lost his mother when he was just, 9, and he spent a year and a half in an orphanage while his old man is doing a jail term for forgery. It's not a very good head start. He has had a rotten 18 years. I just think we owe that boy a few words, that's all.
Now, look, I don't mind telling you this, mister. Look, we don't owe him a thing.
That's right.
I mean, he had a fair trial, didn't he? What you think that trial cost? He lucky he got it. We're all grown up in here, I mean, and we heard the facts, now didn't we? Now, you're not going to sit there and tell us we're supposed to believe this kid, knowing what he is. Look, I've lived among them all my life. I mean, you can't believe a word they say. They are born liars.
It suddenly occurs to me that you must be an ignorant man.
What are you talking about?
You think you have a monopoly on the truth?
Look, what are you making a federal case out of this for? Come on now. Look, how you like this guy?
I think certain things should be pointed out to this man.
This isn't Sunday. We don't need a sermon in here.
I don't see any
need for arguing like this. I think we ought to be able to behave like gentlemen if we are going to discuss this case.
Or maybe the gentleman who's disagreeing down there could tell us why. Tell us what he thinks, and we could show him where he's probably mixed up.
Please.
What is that?
Well, it's one of the products I work on at the ad agency. Rice Pops. The breakfast with the built-in bounce. I wrote that line.
Oh, that's where that came from.
Steady, kids. Do you mind?
Well, I'm sorry. I just have this habit of doodling. It keeps me focused.
If we're trying to do something here, we could be sitting here forever.
Well, look. I might have a little idea. I mean, I'm just thinking out loud, but it seems to me that it's up to us to convince this gentleman that we're right and he's wrong. Maybe if we each took a minute or two to explain how we feel, you know. It was just a quick thought.
No, that's good. Good. Suppose we go once around the table.
Anything. Just let's start it off.
Fine. Why don't you go first?
No, not me. I think we ought to go in order.
Okay, that's fair. In order. 2 minutes apiece. That means you go first.
Oh, well, well, it's hard to put it into words. I just think that he's guilty. I thought it was obvious from the word go, and nobody proved otherwise.
Nobody has to prove otherwise. The burden of proof rests with the prosecution. The defendant doesn't even have to open his mouth.
I know that. What I meant was the man is guilty. There was a witness. Somebody saw him do it.
Okay, here's what I think. And I have no personal feelings at all. I'm talking facts. Number one, let's take the old man who lived on the second floor directly underneath the room where the murder was committed. Now, he says that about 10 minutes after 12, the night of the killing, he heard a lot of noise upstairs. Sounded like a fight. And he heard the boy yell out, "I'm going to kill you." A second later, a body hit the floor. He ran to his apartment door, looked out, saw the kid running down the stairs and out of the house. He called the police. They found the father with a knife in his chest.
And the coroner fixed the time of death around midnight.
That's right. Now, these are facts. You can't refute facts. This kid is guilty. Now, look, I'm as sentimental as the next guy. I know he's only 18, but he's got to pay for what he did.
I'm with you, Pops.
It was obvious to me that the boy's entire story was flimsy. He claimed he was at the movies during the time of the killing. Yet, 1 hour later, he couldn't remember what film he saw, who played in them. That's right. Did you hear that? That's absolutely right. And no one saw him going into or out of the theater. I mean, that's right.
And what about the woman across the street? Now, if her testimony don't prove it, nothing does.
That's right. She's the one who actually saw the killing.
That's right.
Let's go in
No,
order.
wait a minute. Now look, here's a woman. Now here's a woman who's lying in the bed, can't sleep, dying from the heat, you know what I mean? And then she looks out the window, and right across the street, she sees this kid stick the knife into his father. It's 12:10 on the nose, everything fits. And look, she's known this boy all of his life. His window's right opposite of hers, right across the L tracks. And she swore she saw him do it.
Through the windows of a passing elevated train.
That's right. This L train had no passengers on it. It was just being moved downtown. Lights out. Remember that? And they proved in court that at night you can look through the windows of a passing L train when the lights are out, and you can see what's happening on the other side. Now, they proved that.
Could I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
You don't believe the boy. Why do you believe the woman? Isn't she one of them, too?
Oh, you just a real smart fella. Oh, what you being so wise about, man? What do you
All right. We don't need none of that in here. Now, whose turn is it? All right, 2 minutes.
Not bad.
What do you think?
You passed.
That's his privilege. How about the next gentleman?
I don't know. I became convinced very early in the case. Excuse me. See, I'm looking for a motive, right? That's very important. If you don't have a motive, you don't have a case, right? So anyway, that's why that testimony from those people across the hall, that lived across the hall in the apartment across from the kid, well, that's why that was so important, because didn't they say that the father and the kid had an argument, and the kid ran out sometime around 7 o'clock that night? I mean, I could be wrong about the time.
8 o'clock.
Yes, that's right. It was 8 o'clock. They heard the argument, but they couldn't tell what the argument was about. Then they heard the father hit the son twice, and then later they saw the son walk out of the apartment angrily. But what does it prove?
Well, it doesn't exactly prove anything. I'm just saying it's part of the picture, that's all.
Yeah, but you did say it revealed a motive, and that's what the prosecution said. To me, it's a very weak motive. This boy has been hit so many times that violence is a normal part of his life. I don't think a couple of more hits in the face would provoke him to murder.
It may have been 2 hits too many. Everyone is a breaking point.
Anything else?
No.
How about the next gentleman?
Me? I don't know. I mean, it's practically all been said already, you know? I mean, we could talk about it forever. I mean, this kid's 0 for 5. I mean, look at his record. At 10, he's in juvenile court. He threw a rock at the teacher. At 14, he's in reform school because he stole a car. He's been arrested for mugging. He's been picked up twice for trying to splash another teen with a knife. He's real good with that switchblade, you know. Everybody said that. This is a real fine boy.
Ever since he was 5 years old, his father beat him up, and he used his fists.
So would I, a kid like that.
Wouldn't you call those beatings a motive for him to kill his father?
I'd say it's a motive for him to be an angry young man, I'd say that.
Kids, the way they are nowadays, angry, hostile, can't do a damn thing. But look at the way they talk to you. When I was his age, I called my father Sir. That's right, Sir. You ever hear a boy call his father that anymore?
Fathers don't seem to think that's important anymore.
No. You got any kids?
2.
I got one. He's 32. We did everything in the world for that boy. Look what happened. When he was 9, he ran away from a fight. I saw him do it. I was so ashamed I almost threw up. And I said to him right straight out, I said, I'm going to make a man out of you, or I'm going to bust you in half trying. I made a man out of him. When he was 16, we get into a battle. He hit me in the face. Big kid, you know. Haven't seen him in 14 years. Rotten kid. You work your heart out. Well, come on, let's get on with it.
I think they're missing the point here. This boy, let's say, is a product of a filthy neighborhood and broken home. We can't help it. We are here to decide whether he's guilty or innocent of murder, not to go into reasons why he grew up this way. He was born in a slum. Slums are breeding grounds for criminals. I know it's for the youth, not for it. Children from slum backgrounds are potential menaces to society. Hey, now look, you can say that again. All right, see, the kids that crawl out of these places are nothing but trash. Hey, I don't want a thing in the world to do with them, I'm telling you.
I lived in a slum all my life. I nursed that trash in Harlem Hospital 6 nights a week.
Hey, now come on.
I used to play in a backyard that was full of garbage. Maybe it still smells on me.
Oh, now come on, why you got to go there, brother?
Let's be reasonable. It's nothing personal.
There is something personal.
Now, let's not be so sensitive.
This kind of sensitivity, I understand.
All right, let's stop all this arguing. It's just wasting time. Now, it's your turn. Let's go.
Me? I didn't expect a turn. I thought everybody was trying to convince me. I thought that was the idea.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
No, I mean, what's the difference? He's the one that's keeping us here. Let's see what he's got to say.
Wait a minute. We decided we're going to do this a certain way. Let's stick to what we said.
Come on, stop treating us like kids.
Kids, what are you talking about?
That's what I say.
What, just that I'm trying to keep things organized here? Listen, you want to do this? You sit here. You take responsibility. I'll just shut up.
No, what you getting so hot about, man? Why don't you just calm down up there?
Tell me to calm down. Here's the chair. You keep things running smooth and everything. You think it's a snap? Come on, Mr. Foreman. Let's see how great you run the show.
You ever seen anything like that before?
Oh, you think it's funny now, huh?
Take it easy. This whole thing is unimportant.
It's unimportant? What, you want to try it?
No, look, you're doing a beautiful job. Nobody wants to make
doing a good job.
Beautiful job. What you doing? Come on now. Let's hear from somebody.
Excuse me, gentlemen, if you would like to hear how I feel about all of this, I'd be glad to tell you right now.
I don't care what you guys do.
Oh, now he mad. You mad?
I don't have anything brilliant, and I only know what you all know. From the testimony, the boy looks guilty.
You can say that
It's all right, now maybe he is, but I spent 3 days in court listening to that evidence build up, and everyone seemed so positive. I began to get a peculiar feeling about this case, because nothing is that positive. Nothing. I had a bunch of questions I wanted to ask, but I don't know if they would have meant anything or not. I don't know. But I do know that I felt the lawyer, the boy's lawyer, was not doing his job. He was letting too many things go by, little things.
What do you mean, little things? Look, when these guys don't ask questions, it's because they know the answer and they figure that they'll probably get hurt by it.
Yeah, but it could also mean that the lawyer is just plain stupid, couldn't it?
Sounds like you met my brother-in-law.
Yeah. Anyway, I put myself in the boy's place. Yeah. If I was that boy, I would have asked for another lawyer. I mean, if I'm on trial for my life, I would want my lawyer to take all of the prosecution's witnesses and just tear them to shreds. Or try. Now look, there was one eyewitness to this killing, and someone else said that they heard it and then saw the boy running out later. There was a lot of circumstantial evidence, but those 2 witnesses were the entire case for the prosecution. Suppose they were wrong. What do you mean, suppose they were wrong? What's the point of having witnesses at all? Could they be wrong? They took the stand under oath. What are you trying to say? Well, they're people. People make mistakes. Could they be wrong? No, I don't think so. You know so. Well, nobody can know something like that. This isn't exact science. That's right, it isn't.
Let's try to get to the point. Let's take the knife they found in the father's chest.
Wait a minute. Don't you think we ought to
Well, some of the people haven't had a chance to
We
talk.
can talk anytime they want. Just give me a second here, will you? And what about that knife? You know, the one our fine, upright boy admitted buying the night of the murder. Let's talk about that.
Yes, let's talk about it. As a matter of fact, let's look at it again. I'd like to see it, Mr. Foreman.
We all know what it looks like. What are we going to gain by seeing it again?
You brought it up.
The gentleman has a right to see citizen evidence.
The knife it was bought is pretty strong evidence, don't you think so?
Yes, I do.
Gonna need that knife.
The boy admitted going out of his house at 8
o'clock on the night of the murder.
Thanks, man.
Please give me the knife.
Are you trying to tell me that a tree fell through a hole in the boy's pocket? That someone picked it up off the street, went to the boy's house, stepped as far as it, just to be amusing?
I'm just saying that it is possible that the boy lost the knife and somebody else stabbed his father with a similar knife. It's possible, that's all.
Take a look at that knife. I've never seen one like it. Neither has the storekeeper who sold it to the boy. Aren't you asking us to accept a pretty incredible coincidence?
I'm not asking you to accept anything. I'm just saying that it's possible.
And I say it's not possible.
What are you trying to do? Who do you think you are? Hey, what is this? Where'd you get that knife? What is that call for? Quiet, please.
Where did you get that knife?
I was out walking last night. I was just thinking. It was in the boy's neighborhood. That knife comes from a pawn shop 3 blocks from his house. Cost $25.
Against the law to buy or sell.
That's right, I broke the law.
Listen, you pulled a pretty bright trick here. Now, supposing you tell me what it proves. There could be 10 knives like that, so what?
It could be.
What does that mean? I mean, so you got the same kind of knife. What is that, the discovery of the age or something?
Would still be an incredible coincidence for another person to have stabbed the father with the same kind of knife.
Come on, the odds are
1,000,000 to 1.
It's possible.
It's possible. Anything's possible.
All right, gentlemen, let's take seats. No point milling around here.
It's very interesting that he should find a knife exactly like the one the bush bought.
What's interesting about it? You think it proves anything?
Proof? No, I didn't mean it.
How come the kid bought the knife in the first place?
Well, he claims
I know, he claims he bought it as a present for a friend of his. He's going to give it to him the next day because he busted the other kid's knife, dropping it on the paper.
That's what he said.
Yeah, bull duty. The friend testified in court. that the boy did break his knife.
Yeah, how long before the killing, huh? 3 weeks, right? So how come our noble lad bought this thing a half an hour after his father smacked him, and 3.5 hours before they found it shoved up to here in the father's chest?
Well, he was going to give it to his friend. He just wanted to use it first.
Let me ask you a question. This is something I wanted to bring up in court. If the boy did buy the knife to use on his father, how come he showed what was going to become the murder weapon to 3 friends a couple of hours before the killing?
Listen, all this is just talk. The boy lied, and you know it.
Do you think he lied?
That's a stupid question. You damn right he lied.
Yeah. And you, sir?
You don't have to ask me that. You know my answer. He lied, yes.
Yeah. And you?
I think maybe he...
Baby, wait a second. What are you, the kid's lawyer or something? Who are you to come in here and start cross-examining us?
Isn't this what's supposed to happen in a jury room?
There's still 11 of us in here who think he's guilty.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think you're going to accomplish? You're not going to change anybody's mind. You want to be stubborn and hang this jury? Go ahead. You know, the kid will be tried again and found guilty sure as he's born.
You're probably right.
So then what are you going to do about it? We could be here all night.
It's only one night. A boy may die.
Oh, brother. Anybody got a deck of cards?
I don't think you should joke about it.
I don't see what all this talk about the knife's got to do with anything. I mean, come on, somebody saw this boy stab his father. What more do we need? Well, I got 3 car washes out here going to the park, and we're sitting up in here talking.
Yeah.
Come on, let's get done with this so we can get out of here.
Excuse me, but the knife was very important to the district attorney. He took one whole morning.
What district? Come on, that guy was a 15th assistant or something. What does he know?
I think we should get on with it. These side arguments only slow us up. Now, what about it?
You are the only one.
Gentlemen, I have a proposition. I'd like to call for another vote. I want you 11 men to vote by secret written ballot, and I will abstain. If all 11 of you vote guilty, I'm not going to hold out. We'll go in with a verdict to the judge right now. But if anyone votes not guilty, then we stay and talk. And that's all. I'm ready right now if you all go for it.
Well, finally, you're behaving like a reasonable man.
How about
Come
it?
on, let's do it.
Unfair. Anyone doesn't agree? All right, pass these along.
You should do it.
Come on, today, man.
All right. Guilty. 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 Not guilty. Guilty.
Well, how you like that?
And another chap puts his goddamn wig.
Come on, who was it? Because I want to know.
Excuse me, we agreed that this would be a secret ballot.
Secret?
Yes.
What are you talking about?
The secret.
There's no secrets in a jury room. I know who did it. Brother, you are really something, you know that? You come in here, and you vote guilty like everybody else, and then this golden-voiced preacher over here starts to tear your heart out with a lot of stories about a poor little boy who just couldn't help becoming a murderer. So you change your vote. That is the most sickening. Why don't you drop a quarter in his collection box? Wait a minute. Oh,
Sit down.
He's very You're damn right I'm excitable. We're trying to put a guilty man where he belongs, and somebody's telling us fairy tales, and we're listening.
Take it easy.
What do you mean, take it easy? You feel like seeing a proven murderer walking the streets? I'll tell you what.
Let's give him his knife back. Make it easier for him.
All right, stop the yelling. Now, does anyone have any other suggestions?
Excuse me, I would like to say something. I've always thought that in this country a man was entitled to have unpopular opinions.
Hey, look, let's stick to the subject, okay, pal? What did you switch your vote for?
Now look,
He didn't switch his vote.
I did. Would you like me to tell you why?
No, I wouldn't like you to tell me why.
Well, I'd like to make myself clear anyway, if you don't mind.
Do we have to listen to this?
Hey, look, the man wants to talk. Thank you. This gentleman has been standing alone against it. He doesn't say the boy is not guilty. He just isn't sure. Well, it's not easy to stand alone against the ridicule of others. He gambled for support, and I gave it to him. I respect his motive. The boy on trial is probably guilty, but I want to hear more. You can't. I'm talking here. You have no right to just walk.
He can't hear you. He never will.
If the speech is over, may we go on?
I think we ought to take a break. There's a man inside there. We should wait for him.
Look, I was pretty excited, you know what I mean? I didn't mean to get nasty or anything.
God, I wish I knew some way we could break this up. You know, in advertising, I told you I worked in an ad agency, didn't I? Well, we got some pretty strange people down there. Not strange, really. They just have peculiar ways of expressing themselves sometimes, you know what I mean? Probably the same thing in your business. Mm-hmm. What do you do?
I'm a watchmaker.
Really? Finest watchmakers in the world come from Europe, don't they? Anyway, like I was saying, at the ad agency, when we reach a point like this in a meeting, there's always some character ready with an idea, and it kills me. I mean, it's the weirdest thing sometimes, the way they precede their idea with some little phrase, you know, like some account exec will go, well, here's an idea. Let's run it up the flagpole, see if anyone sings the national anthem. Or, here's an idea. Let's put it on the bus, see if it gets off at Wall Street. I mean, it's idiotic, really, but it's funny.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I was wondering if I could ask you a question. Are you one of those Nation of Islam guys? I only ask because I never met one of you guys before.
I was, but we didn't exactly see things eye to eye, you know what I'm saying?
Not really. But anyway, I was wondering if you could do me a favor, maybe take it a little easy on the old man. I figure once you get up that high in years, is there a little break? No? Guess that's a no.
You a salesman? No, architect. You know what the soft sell is? You're pretty good at it. I tell you, I got a different technique, Jokes, drinks, knock them on their ass. Yeah. Made $57,000 last year. Selling marmalade. And that's not bad, considering marmalade. So what are you getting out of this? Kicks? Boy's guilty, pal. Why don't you let us go home before we all get sore throats?
What's the difference whether you get one here or at the ball game?
That's two. No difference, pal. No difference at all.
Nice bunch of guys.
Oh, yeah. Same as any, I guess.
Yeah. So the guy with the hat?
Yeah.
He's a real prince. And that loud, heavy-set guy that wanted to tell us about his kid, and the way he's talking, it's embarrassing. A murderous day. We'll be here much longer?
I don't know. He's guilty, you know. Not a doubt in the whole world. Should have been done by now.
But I really care. I mean, beats working. Right? You think he's innocent?
Don't know.
Well, I don't know you. But I'm betting you've never been wrong in your life. Better wrap it up. Just wasting your time.
Suppose you were the one on trial.
Well, I don't do a lot of supposing. No, I'm just a working man. Let my boss do my supposing. But you want to try one. Suppose you talk us all out of this, and that kid really did stick that knife into his father.
All right, gentlemen, let's take seats.
Looks like we'll be here for dinner.
Let's get down to business. Who wants to start it off?
I'd like to say something.
Gentlemen,
I'd like to say something.
one at a time. Number one, excuse me. Number six.
All right. Please, go ahead. This may be a small point, but anyway. The boy had a motive for the killing, the beatings and all, right? If he didn't do it, who did it? Right. Who else had a motive? I mean, that's my point. You don't go out and just kill somebody for no reason unless you're just plain nuts.
Right. As far as I can see, we're here to determine whether or not this boy is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. We're not concerned with anyone else's motives. That's a job for the police.
Very true. But we can't help letting the only motive we know of creep into our thoughts. We can't help asking ourselves who else might have had a motive. Huh? I mean, this gentleman is asking a reasonable question. Somebody killed him. If it wasn't the boy, who was it? Modulevsky. Oh, you're talking about the man I love. If you haven't got anything to add besides jokes, I suggest you listen. I'm sorry, I was just letting off a little steam. Go ahead. Well, maybe you can help me. Who else might have killed the father?
Oh, God, I don't know. I think the father was hardly a model citizen. We know that he served a prison term and that he was an inveterate gambler and a consistent loser, and he frequented all of the local bars. Usually after a couple of drinks, he'd get into a fight over a woman.
He's my kind of guy.
He was a mean, cruel, primitive kind of man. He couldn't even hold a job for longer than 6 months in his entire life. So, hell, he could have been murdered by any one of the prison inmates or a bookmaker or somebody he beat up or a woman he picked up or any one of those tough guys that he used to hang around with.
Well, come on, man. We know that the father was a bum. What's it got to do with anything?
Well, I didn't bring this thing up. The man asked who else might have killed the man, and I gave an answer.
That gentleman there asked a direct question.
Boy, everybody's a lawyer.
Suppose you answer this for me. The old man downstairs heard the kid yell out, "I'm going to kill you." A split second later, body hit the floor, and then he saw the kid running out of the house. Now, what does all that mean to you?
I was wondering how well he could hear that boy's voice through the ceiling.
He didn't hear it through the ceiling. His window was open. The window was open upstairs. It was a hot night, remember?
The voice was from another apartment. It's very difficult to identify a voice, let alone a voice that's shouting.
He identified it in court. He picked the boy's voice out of 5 of the voices blindfolded.
That was just an ambitious district attorney putting on a show. Look, the old man knew the boy's voice very well. They lived in the same house for years. But to identify the voice positively from another apartment, isn't it possible that he was wrong? Isn't it possible that he thought the boy was upstairs and therefore he just assumed that the voice he heard was the boy's voice?
I think that's a bit far-fetched.
Look, the old man heard the father's body falling. Then he saw the boy running out of the house 15 seconds later. So come on, he saw that boy.
He sees the woman across the street. She looked right into the open window, saw the kid stab his father. I mean, come on. Isn't that enough for you?
Not right now, it isn't.
Oh, man, how do you like this guy, huh? It's like talking into a dead phone.
The woman saw the killing through the windows of a moving elevated train. The train had 6 cars, and she saw through the windows of the last 2 cars. I mean, she remembered the most significant details. I don't see how you can argue with that. What do you got to say about that?
It doesn't seem right to me.
Well, suppose you think about it, huh?
I wonder if there's anyone here that has an idea of how long it would take a 6-car L train. Oh, it should be traveling at, medium speed.
Wait a minute.
This is not a game.
Who do you think you are?
Come on, now sit down.
I'm trying to get my belt.
That's all we need is a fight in here.
Did you see him? The nerve.
Come on, not that big a deal, all right?
This isn't a game. Who do you think he's dealing
Come
with?
on now, it's over. Now let's just sit
It's not over. I want an apology.
All right, boys, he apologizes. Then what you see what the man's got to say.
Thank you. As I was trying to say, I wonder if anybody here has an idea of how long it would take an L train to pass a given point going at a medium speed.
What the hell has that got to do with anything?
Well, go on, just take a guess.
I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
You?
I don't know, 10, 12 seconds maybe.
What's all this for?
Well, that sounds like a pretty good guess. Anyone else?
That sounds right to me.
Come on, what are the guessing games for?
You. How about you?
10 seconds, approximately.
All right, say 10 seconds. What are you getting at?
Just this. It takes 10 seconds for a 6-car L train to pass a given point. Let's say that given point is the open window of the room where the murder took place. You could practically reach out that window and touch the L tracks, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you another question, gentlemen. Is there anybody here who has ever lived next to an L line?
I just finished painting an apartment over next to an L line. Just
Yeah.
for 3 days.
Yeah, what was it like?
What do you mean?
Noisy?
Yeah, it was noisy.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, I'll punch you in my business anyway, but yes, it was noisy.
Yeah, well, when I was very young, I had an apartment on the second floor right next to an L line, and I want to tell you, when that window is open and the train is roaring by, the noise is unbearable. You can't hear yourself think.
Okay, you can't hear yourself think. Now, will you get to the point?
Okay, let's try and tie two pieces of evidence together. Number one, the old man in the apartment downstairs, he swears that he heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you," and then a split second later, what sounded like a body falling to the floor. 1 second later, am I right?
Right.
Okay, now the woman across the street, she swears that she saw the stabbing through the windows of the last 2 cars of an elevated train. The last 2 cars, am I right?
What are you making here?
All right, we agreed that it takes 10 seconds for an elevated train to pass a given point. If the woman witnessed the stabbing through the last 2 cars, then we must assume that the body fell just as the train was passing by. Therefore, it was roaring by the old man's window for a full 10 seconds before the body fell. The old man now, according to his own testimony, hearing the boy say, "I'm going to kill you," and the body falling, must have heard that statement while the L was roaring by right under his nose. It's not possible that he could have heard it.
It's idiotic. Sure he heard it.
You really think so, huh?
The old man said the boy yelled it out. That's good enough for me.
Well, whatever he heard, he couldn't have identified a voice with that L roaring by.
You're talking about a matter of seconds here. Nobody can be that accurate.
Well, I'll tell you, I think the testimony that can send a human being to death should be that accurate.
I don't think he could have heard it.
Yeah, maybe he didn't hear it with all that L noise.
What are you people talking about?
Well, it stands to reason.
Crazy! Why should he lie? What's he got to gain?
Attention, maybe.
You keep coming up with these bright sayings. Why don't you send one to the Reader's Digest? They pay $50.
What do you keep talking to him like that for? Huh? No, a guy who talks like that to an old man ought to get stepped on, know what I mean? You ought to have a little respect. You go ahead. You say whatever you want. No one's going to stop you. Why do you think the old man might lie?
Well, it's just that I looked at him for a very long time. The seam of his jacket was split under the arm. Did any of you notice it? I mean, to come into court like that. He was a very old man with a torn jacket, and he walked very slowly toward the stand. He was dragging his left leg and trying to hide it because he was ashamed. You know, I think I know him better than anyone here. This is a quiet, frightened, insignificant old man who has been nothing all his life. Never had recognition, never seen his name in the newspapers. Nobody knows him. Nobody quotes him. Nobody seeks his advice. After 75 years, you know, that's a very sad thing to be a nothing. A man like this needs to be recognized, to be listened to be quoted just once. I mean, that's very important. You would find it hard to recede into the background when there's a chance for it to become a...
Wait a minute. Are you trying to tell us that the guy would lie just to be important once?
He wouldn't really lie. But perhaps he'd make himself believe that he'd heard those words and recognized the boy's face.
Oh, that's the most fantastic story I ever heard in my life. How can you just make up some stuff like that? What do you know about it? Sit down.
Oh, you sit down.
Sit down.
Gentlemen, let me remind you, this case is based on a reasonable and logical progression of facts. Please, let's keep it.
Facts may be colored by the personalities of the people who present them. Let's not forget that.
Would anybody like coffee?
Yeah, I would, thank you.
Well, say what you like, fellas. I still don't see how anybody could think this kid's not guilty.
There's one thing I did want to talk about for just a minute. I think that we have proven that the old man could not have heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you." But suppose that...
What are you talking about, proof? You haven't proved it at all. What are you talking about?
But suppose he did hear it. I mean, how many times have we all probably used that expression? Hundreds of times, you know. I could kill you for that, darling, or Junior, I'm going to kill you if you do that one more time. Or kill him, Rocky, kill him. You know, it's just a common everyday... It doesn't mean we're going to kill someone.
Wait a minute. What are you trying to give us here? The phrase was, "I'm going to kill you," and the kid screamed it out at the top of his lungs. Don't tell me he didn't mean it. Anybody who says something like that, the way he said it, they mean it.
Well, gee, I don't know. I remember I was arguing with this guy that I worked next to at the bank. So he called me an idiot. So I was yelling at
This
him.
man is trying to get you to believe things that just aren't so. The boy said, "I'm going to kill you," and he did kill it.
But do you really think that he would shout out something like that for the whole neighborhood to hear? I don't think so. I think he's too bright for that.
Right. He's a common ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English.
He does not even speak good English.
Mr. Foreman, I'd like to change my vote to not guilty.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
You heard me.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
The vote is 9-3 in favor of guilty.
Well, if this isn't the living end, what are you basing it on? The stories this guy made up? I mean, this guy, he could write for Amazing Detective Monthly. He'd make a fortune. Now listen, Milwaukee, there are facts staring you right in the face. And every one of them says, this kid killed his old man. I mean, his own lawyer knew right from the beginning he didn't stand a chance. His own lawyer. You could see it. I mean, he deserves to die.
Oh, does he? For your information, it's happened in the past that people have been convicted of murder and then executed, and later, years later, someone comes along and confesses to the crime. You see, sometimes the facts that are staring us in the face are wrong.
Hey, listen, I'm talking to him, not to you. Boy, this guy's beautiful, isn't he? Yeah, listen, the kid had a lawyer, didn't he? The lawyer presented the case, not you. How come you got so much
The
to say?
lawyer was court appointed.
So what does that mean?
It could mean a hell of a lot. It could mean he didn't want the case. It could mean he resented being appointed. What's there for him? No hope, no glory, very little chance of winning. Not a very promising situation for a young lawyer. He would have to really believe in his client in order to put up a good fight. As you mentioned a minute ago, he obviously didn't.
Oh, sure he didn't. Who the hell could? Except maybe God come to earth or somebody. Now, come on, guys, look at the time.
Pardon me, I have some notes here.
Notes?
I would like to ask some questions. I've been listening very closely, and what this gentleman has been saying, he's got some very good points to make. Now, from what was presented at the trial, it seems that the boy is guilty, but maybe if we go deeper...
Come on, will you?
See, I would like to ask one question. Now, we assume that the boy committed murder, that he stabbed his father in the chest and then he ran away. This was at 10 minutes after 12. Now, how was the boy caught? By the police. He came back at about 3 o'clock or so, and he was caught by 2 detectives in the hallway of his house.
Come on, man.
Now, my question is this. If he really did kill his father, why did he come back 3 hours later?
Would he not be afraid of being caught by the police?
Look, he came home to get his knife. It's not nice to leave knives sticking around people's chests.
Yeah, especially relatives. I don't see anything funny about it.
Neither do I.
The boy knew that there were people who could identify the knife as the one he had just bought. He had to get it before the police did.
But if he knew that the knife could be identified, why did he leave it in the first place?
Oh, well, I think we can assume he ran out in a state of panic after he killed his father. And when he finally calmed down, he realized that he had left the knife there.
Then this depends on your definition of panic, because he was calm enough to make sure that there were no fingerprints on the knife. Now, where did his panic start, and where did it end?
Look, you can throw all that other stuff out. He came home to dig out his knife and get rid of it.
3 hours later?
Sure, 3 hours later.
If I had killed my father, I would not be coming back 3 hours later. I would be afraid of the police. No, I would stay away. Knife or no knife?
Look, you voted guilty, didn't you? What side are you on?
I do not have to be loyal to one side or the other. I'm simply asking questions.
Well, look, this is just off the top of my head, but it seems to me, I mean, if I were the kid and I'd, done the stabbing and all of that, I'd take a chance and go back for the knife. I mean, he probably figured that no one's seen him and nobody's even discovered the body yet. I mean, it was the middle of the night. He probably figured that the body wouldn't be found until the next day.
Excuse me, but that is my whole point. Now, the woman across the street testified. The moment after she saw the clip, that is the moment after the L-train went by. She screamed it, then telephoned the police. Now, the boy certainly must have heard the scream and knew somebody saw something. No, I do not think the boy would have gone back if he had been the murderer. 2 points. 1. In his state of panic, he may not have heard the scream. Perhaps it wasn't very loud. 2. If he did hear it, he may not have connected it with his own act. Remember, he lived in a neighborhood where screams were fairly commonplace.
Right, there's your answer.
Maybe the boy did stab his father, did not hear the screams, ran off in a panic and calmed down 3 hours later, came back to get his knife, risking being caught by the police. Maybe all of those things are so, and maybe not. I personally think there is enough doubt for us to wonder if the boy was there at all when the murder took place.
What do you mean, doubt? What are you talking about? Didn't the old man see the boy running out of the house? Look, see, he's twisting the facts. I'm telling you, he's twisting them. Did or didn't the old man see the boy running out of the house at 12:10? Did he or didn't he?
Says he did.
Well, he says he did. Well, how you like this? He says he did. Well, did or didn't the woman across the street see the boy kill his father? She says she did. You making out like it don't matter what people say. What you want to believe, you believe. What you don't want to believe, so you don't. What kind of way is that? And what do you think these people get up on the witness stand for? Their health? I'm telling you, man, the facts are being changed in here. Witnesses are being doubted, and there's no reason for it.
Witnesses can make mistakes.
Yeah, when you want them to, they do. You know what I mean?
All right, now let's keep the yelling down.
No, you keep saying that. What we need in here is a little yelling. These men running off every which way. Did hear the scream, didn't hear the scream. What difference does it make? Those little details. You guys are missing the important stuff. I mean, all of a sudden in here, everybody's just...
I would like to call
I'm
for
talking
another
here.
vote.
There's another vote called for here. Gentlemen, take your seat.
What are we going to gain by voting again?
I don't know. The man asked for another vote. We're going to have another vote.
I've never seen so much time spent on nothing.
It only takes a second. All right, the fastest way is to find out who's voting not guilty. All those in favor of not guilty, raise your hand. 3. Still the same. 3 not guilty, 9 guilty.
So where are we? I mean, come on, we can yakety yak here till next Tuesday. Where's it getting us?
Pardon me. I would like to change my vote. I vote not guilty.
Oh, brother. Oh, now listen, what are you talking about? We're all going crazy in here. This kid is guilty. Why don't you pay attention to the facts? I mean, tell him, will you? This is going to be a goddamn joke.
The vote is 8-4 in favor of guilty.
I mean, everybody's heart is starting to bleed for this punk little kid like the president just declared Love Your Underprivileged Brother Week or something. Listen to me. I want you to tell me why you changed your vote. Come on, give me a reason.
I do not have to defend myself to you. I now have a reasonable doubt.
Reasonable doubt? That's nothing but words. Look at the knife. The kid you just decided is not guilty was seen ramming that thing into his father. Well, look at it, Mr. Reasonable Doubt.
That's not the knife. Don't you remember?
Brilliant.
You know, this is the craziest. I mean, you're pulling stories out of thin air. What are we supposed to believe? I'm telling you, if this guy was sitting ringside at the Tyson Holyfield fight, he'd be trying to tell us Tyson won.
Now, look,
What about the old man, huh? Are we supposed to believe that he didn't get up and run to his front door and see that kid tearing down the stairs 15 seconds after the killing? He's only saying he did so he could be important, right? I mean, what's the point of it?
Wait a second.
Huh? Oh, the Milwaukee rooter is heard from, and pop-ups are falling from base hits wherever we look.
Did the old man say he ran to the door?
Ran, walk, what's the difference? He got there. He ran.
Oh, but I don't remember what he said, but I don't see how he could run.
He said he ran from his bedroom to the front door. That's enough, isn't it?
Where exactly was that bedroom again?
It was down the hall somewhere. You don't remember that?
No.
I thought you remembered everything.
Mr. Foreman, I'd like to see a diagram of the apartment again, please.
Run the trial over just so you can get everything straight.
Mr. Foreman?
I heard you.
What's all this for? How come you're the only one in the room who wants to see exhibits all the time?
I want to see this one, too.
And I want to stop wasting time.
If you are going to start waiting through all this
Business about where the body was found, then we
No,
can...
we're not. I just want to find out if a man who limps because he had a stroke a year ago can get from his bed to his front door in 15 seconds.
You said 20 seconds.
15.
I'm telling you, he said 20. Right? Half the time he was confused. How could he be positive about anything?
I don't see what we are going to prove here. The man said he saw the boy running out.
That's what he said.
Well, let's see if the
Details bear him out. Now, the minute the body fell, the old man says he heard footsteps running towards the front door upstairs. Then he heard that upstairs door open, and the footsteps continued down the stairway. He got to his front door as fast as he could, swears it couldn't have been more than 15 seconds. Now, if the killer started to run immediately...
Well, maybe he didn't.
The old man says he did.
You ought to be down in Atlantic City at the Hair Splitters Convention. In baseball, why don't you stop at the smart remarks all the time? Oh, my friend. You $15 a day. You got to listen to everything.
Okay, now you got that thing in here. What about it?
May I? Okay, this is the apartment where the killing took place. The old man's apartment is exactly like it, directly underneath. Now, here's the L line. Here's the bedroom, living room, the kitchen, and the bath. Here's the hallway. Way down there is the front door to the apartment, and here are the steps that go down. Now, the old man was in bed in this room. He says he got up, he went into the hall, went all the way down the hall, opened the front door just in time to see the boy racing down the stairs. Am I right?
That's the story for the 19th time.
15 seconds after he heard the body fall.
Correct.
The old man's bed was by the window. That means he had to walk 12 feet from the bed to the bedroom door, and the hall is 43 feet 6 inches down to the front door. That means that he had to get up, get out of bed, walk 12 feet, open the bedroom door, walk 43 feet, and open the front door to his apartment. All in 15 seconds. Does anyone think he could have done it?
Sure he could have
He
done
could
it.
only walk very slowly. They had to help him to the witness.
You make it sound like a long walk. It's not.
For an old man who's had a stroke, it's a long walk.
What are you doing?
I want to set this up, see how long it took him.
You want to set it up. Why didn't the kid's lawyer bring it up? It was so important.
Maybe he just didn't think of it.
What do you mean he didn't think of it? What do you think, that guy's an idiot or something? It's an obvious thing,
Did
man.
you think of it?
Look, smart guy. It don't matter whether I thought of it or not.
All right, let's calm it
He
down.
didn't bring it up because he thought it was going to hurt his case. Now,
Wait a
think about
minute.
that.
Maybe he didn't bring it up because it would seem as if he was badgering and pestering a helpless old man, which does not sit well with a jury. Lawyers try to avoid that sort of thing if they can.
What kind of bum is he then?
That's exactly what I've been asking. Now, let's say this is the old man's bed. First, I'm going to pace off 12 feet. That's the length of the bedroom.
You're crazy. You can't recreate a thing like that.
Okay, you want to do me a favor? Could you hand me that chair? Put it right here. This is the bedroom door. That hallway was what? It was 43 feet. Well, I'll pace over to that wall and then back around this way again.
He was absolutely insane. What's the idea of him wasting everybody's time with this?
11, 12. Look, it's only going to take 15 seconds according to you. Forty, 41, 42, 43. If you would. Thank you very much. This is the doorway out into the hall and the stairway going down. It was chain locked according to testimony. Now, has anybody here got a second hand on their watch?
I have.
All right. Well, you just stamp your foot when you want me to go. That'll be the body falling. All right? Time me from then.
Anybody for charades?
I have never seen anything like this.
All right, I'm ready.
Come on here, come on, Whitney.
I'm waiting for the second hand to reach 60.
Go!
Oh, come on, step it up. He walked twice as fast as that. Too slow.
Fast he walked. He didn't walk any. He's an old man.
No, that's too slow.
You want me to walk faster? All right, I'll walk faster.
He's a 5, he don't make it.
This is a trial for murder.
Time.
Exactly 42 seconds.
42 seconds.
42 seconds.
Here's what I think happened. I think the old man heard the fight between the boy and his father earlier, and then a couple hours later, lying in bed, he heard a body hit the floor of the boy's apartment and heard the woman scream across the street. He tried to get to the front door. He heard someone running down the stairs, and he assumed that it was the boy.
I think that's possible.
Now listen to me, people. I've heard all kinds of dishonesty in my day, but this little display takes the cake. You come in here with your sanctimonious talk about slum kids and injustice, and you make up a lot of wild stories, and all of a sudden you're getting through to some of these little old ladies in here. Well, you're not getting through to me. I've had enough. What is the matter with you people? Every one of you knows he's guilty. He's got to burn. We let him slip through our fingers.
Slip through our fingers? What are you, his executioner?
I'm one of them.
Maybe you'd like to put the needle in.
For this kid, you bet I would.
God, I'm sorry for you.
Don't start with me now.
Ever since we've walked into this room, you've acted like a self-appointed public avenger.
Shut up.
You want the boy to die for your own personal reasons, not because of the facts. You're a savior. You don't really mean you'll kill me, do you?
What the hell's going on here?
Nothing. Just a little argument. Everything's fine, brother. Everything is fine. Just things got just a little heated. Thank you.
What are you staring at?
Well, I suppose we need someone else to start us off again, huh?
It's getting late. What do they do? Take us out to a restaurant for supper?
I don't know.
I sure hope you let us go home in case we don't finish this case tonight. My little grandson has the mumps face after here. My wife says he looks like Fat Albert.
Well, look, guys, if no one else has any ideas, I might have a cute one here. I mean, I haven't put much thought into it, but let me throw it out on the stoop. We'll see if the cat licks it up. What do you say?
The cat licks it up.
Yeah, it's an expression. It wasn't much of an idea, really.
Look how dark it's getting. I'm gonna have a storm.
Yeah.
Boy, it's hot. Don't you sweat?
No. No, I don't.
I don't either.
Listen, I'm wondering, maybe we can take another vote. Yeah, maybe we can follow this one up with dancing and refreshments. Foreman?
All right with me. Anyone doesn't want to vote?
I think we should have an open ballot. Call out your votes. See who stands where.
All right, the last vote was 8-4 in favor of guilty. I'll just call out your jury number. I vote guilty. Number 2?
Not guilty.
Number 3?
Guilty.
Number 4?
Guilty.
Number 5?
Not guilty.
Number 6?
Not guilty.
Number 7?
Guilty.
Number 8?
Not guilty.
Number 9? Not guilty. Number 10?
Guilty, brother.
Number 11?
Not guilty.
Number 12?
Guilty.
We go into extra innings here.
Well, I'm telling you, some of you people have lost your damn mind up in here, kid like that.
I don't think the kind of boy he is has anything to do with it. The facts are supposed to determine the case.
Oh, don't give me any of that facts. Sick and tired of facts. Twist them any way you want to. Facts, facts.
That's exactly the point that this gentleman has been making. You keep shouting at the top of your lungs as though that was some sort of solution. I mean, I could... I just wish I was a little younger.
It's gonna rain.
No. How'd you figure that out? How come you switched?
Well, it just seemed.
You're not gonna make the stand up, don't you?
Well, I don't feel that way. There were a lot of details that didn't come out.
Details? Look, you just let yourself get bulldozed by a bunch of these old whitewashed intellectuals.
That's not
Oh, come on, listen to me. You just like them other folks your age. You're scared of the white man. They say something, you get all mixed up.
You listen.
You just mixed up.
You
mixed up, I
listen.
said.
You have no right to loud mouth.
Uh-oh.
Here it comes.
Look at that.
I know somebody give me a hand outside.
All right. Get that window. Come on. What's this window here? Go put it to rest. Get right over there now. Let's try to get this air conditioner working in here. What do you say, huh?
Oh, man.
Hey, look at this. Hey, it must have been connected to the light switch, huh?
Some rain, huh?
Now, what about this thing? Even Steve. Kind of surprising, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know that business before where the guy was dating me? That doesn't prove anything. I'm a very excitable person. Where does he come off calling me a public avenger and a sadist and everything? Anybody in his right mind would have blown his stack, right? He was just trying to bait me.
He did an excellent job.
Man, look at it go. You know, it reminds me of the city championship 3 years ago. What a game. Score was tied. 21-21. It could have gone either way. We had this young brother, Yelder. Great kid. Quiet, respectful, wiry. But he could shake you out of your shoes. Nobody could touch him. I'm the football coach over at Bayside. The scouts had just started to hover around him. The refs said they requested the game just to see him play. It was phenomenal. I mean, I built the whole team around him. I knew better, but I love the kid. We came out at halftime and it already began pouring. Now, the fourth quarter, the field was mud bath. Yelder, of course, he couldn't get his footing. He's a scat back. They had a big fullback. They just rammed down our throats and won the game. But, you know, I'll always remember Yelder after the game. He's sitting on the bench, still in his uniform, staring off into space. It broke my heart.
Boy, that's the damnedest thing you ever saw. 6-6. It's a joke.
What are we going to do about it? Can't we break it somehow?
Yeah, well, those 6 fools in there aren't going to change their mind.
I thought they already have changed their mind. There's no reason why they can be persuaded to do it again.
And how?
Just by using logic.
Yeah, logic, huh?
You listen to this man. He's the only one in the room who knows.
Hey, look, you want my opinion?
Go ahead.
I think we should just quit.
What are you talking about?
I mean, come on, these 6 people in there, all of a sudden they act like it's some kind of mission or something. I mean, come on, they're not going to quit. Let's just go to the judge, and we'll be here all night. Let's just go tell her that we're hung. The hell with this. What am I supposed to do? Break my brain over some scum like that?
You took an oath in the courtroom. You can't just quit.
Why not?
It's dishonest. Why don't you just vote not guilty?
No, I voted guilty because I think he's guilty.
But you don't care what happens to him.
No, why should I?
Stop this. We are not going to get anywhere like this.
I mean, come on, what does he want? I gave him my honest opinion.
I know.
Oh, I suppose you don't think much of it.
No, I don't.
How about him? Is that something?
Well, a hung jury doesn't mean anything. Just have to start the trial all over again with another jury. That's not what we're here for.
Yeah, what the hell's the difference? A hung jury's what you're gonna get. All right, look, I'll tell you what I think, all right? We ain't going nowhere in here. I'm ready to go into court right now and declare a hung jury.
I go for that too. Come on. Let's take it into the judge. Let this kid take his chances with 12 other guys.
The court is not going to accept a hung jury. We haven't been here long enough.
Well, let's find out.
I'm not in favor of this.
Listen, this kid wouldn't stand a chance with another jury, and you know it. Come on, we're hung. Nobody's going to change their opinion. Let's take it inside.
You still don't think there's any room for reasonable doubt?
No, I don't.
Or then maybe you do not fully understand the term reasonable doubt.
Oh, what do you mean I don't understand? Who the hell are you to talk to me like that? You like this guy, huh? I'm telling you. They're all the same. You come over to this country running for your life, and before he can take a big breath, he's telling us how to run the show. The arrogance of this guy.
Oh, you calling him arrogant because he wasn't born here. Well, I'm calling you arrogant because you were. How's that?
Hey, look, Sonny.
Now, who the hell are you calling?
Hey, look, Sonny. Nobody around here's going to tell me what words I understand and what words I don't. Especially him. I'll knock his Middle Eastern European goddamn head off.
All right, cut the bullshit. We're not going in as a hung jury. Come on, let's get back to work.
There's something I would like to discuss, if it's all right with you gentlemen. An important point the prosecution raised was the fact that the boy, having said that he was at the movies during the time the murder occurred, could not remember the names of the films or the stars that were in them. This gentleman has raised that point several times.
That's correct. It was the only alibi the boy offered, and he himself couldn't back it up with any details at all.
Well, putting yourself in the boy's place, if you can, do you think that you would be able to remember details after an experience such as your father hitting you in the face?
Yes, I think so, if there were any special details to remember. He couldn't remember the movies at the theater he named because he wasn't there that night.
Well, the police said they interrogated the boy in the kitchen of his apartment while his father's body lay on the floor of the bedroom. Do you think that you could remember details under a situation such as that?
Yes, I do.
Under extreme emotional stress?
Under extreme emotional stress, yes.
Of course, in court, he did remember the names of the pictures, and he remembered the names of the stars that appeared.
Oh, yes, his lawyer took great pains to bring that out. He had 3 months from the night of the murder to the day of the trial in which to memorize them. I take the testimony of the policeman who interrogated him right after the murder, when he couldn't remember a thing about the movies. Great emotional stress or not.
Okay, could I ask you a personal question?
Please go ahead.
Where were you last night?
I was home, yes.
Okay, the night before that?
Hey, come on, what is this?
Perfectly all right. The night before, I went from court to my office, stayed there till 8:30, then I went straight home to bed, yes.
All right, and the night before that?
It was Tuesday, thank you, Tuesday. There was a night of bridge tournament, yes, I played bridge.
And Monday night?
When you get him down to New Year's Eve, 1972, let me know.
Wait. Monday night, oh yes, my wife and I went to the movies.
What did you see?
Life and Secrets. It was a very touching story about a black woman who...
Excuse me. It's called Secrets and Lies.
Secrets and Lies, yes.
Correct. And who was in Secrets and Lies?
Wait a minute. It was something with B-E. I think. Yeah, Bella. It was
Brenda.
Bella.
Brenda was her name. And what was her last name?
It was an English movie. There are actors that I'm not familiar with. There was something with... I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
And you weren't under great emotional stress at the time, were you?
No, sir. I wasn't sorry.
I think the point is made.
Yeah, big point.
I think it is a big point.
What, because he couldn't remember the name of a couple of two-bit movie stars? Oh, well, I guess that proves that the kid was at the movies then.
No, but it indicates that no one can prove that he wasn't. He might have been at the movies and forgotten what he saw. It's possible. If it's perfectly logical for this gentleman to forget a few details, it's perfectly logical for the boy. Being accused of murder isn't supposed to give him an infallible memory.
Yeah, well, you can talk till your tongue's dragging on the ground. Okay? Kid is guilty, period. You know what I mean, my friend? Who's got the cough drop?
They're all gone, my friend.
You know, there's something we're forgetting here that I was just thinking about. And that's that whole business that dragged out forever with the psychiatrist, where he got all involved with...
Oh, look, come on, don't start with all that old phony psycho, what you call him stuff. Look, that boy, what a racket that is, filling people's heads with all that junk. I got 3 psychiatrists bringing their cards to my detail shop. The whole 3 of them boogers is crazy.
I'm trying to make a point.
I would give you a buffalo nickel for a psychiatrist testimony. I would.
Why won't you let the man talk? You can do 5 minutes on the uselessness of psychiatry after he's through.
What I was going to say was that the psychiatrist definitely stated the boy had strong homicidal tendencies, that he was capable of committing murder. He also described all those tests, ink blots, and all the rest, and said that the boy definitely was a killer type. Am I right?
I think he said something about paranoid tendencies, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. Let's just remember he said it. Let's not forget we're talking about a boy here who's always had murder on his mind.
His unconscious mind.
I beg pardon. In discussing
What
such a thing,
what you so damn polite about?
for the same reason that you are not, because the way I was brought up. In discussing such a thing as the murder potential, we must remember that many of us are capable of committing murder, but few of us do. We impose controls upon ourselves to prevent it. Now, the most that these psychiatric tests can accomplish along these lines is this. They can tell us that someday a particular person may commit murder. That is all. They prove nothing.
Then how come they admit it in evidence?
They have many uses, of course. In this case, they added to the general impression the prosecution was trying to create. Perhaps we would find, if the 12 of us men took the same test, 1 or 2 of us might be discovered to have the subconscious desires to kill and the potentiality of carrying them out. Yet, none of us has. To say that the man is capable of murder does not mean that he has committed murder.
Yeah, but it could mean it. Look, if they said this kid was capable of killing, he could have killed, couldn't he?
You're the one who said, and I quote, I wouldn't give a buffalo nickel for a psychiatrist's testimony.
5 to 6. Look at that ring.
There goes the old ball game. Say, could I see that knife for a second?
All right, gentlemen. We're still tied 6 to 6. Who's got a suggestion?
I do. Let's have dinner.
Let's go to 7, give it another hour.
Okay.
That's something I want to say. It's been bothering me a little, and as long as we're stuck. Well, there was this whole business about the stab wound, how it was made, the downward angle, you know?
We're not going to start that again. They went over and over it.
I know they did, but I can't go along with it. The boy was, 5 feet, 7 inches tall, right? Mm-hmm. And according to the medical examiner, the father was 6 feet 2. Now that's a difference of 7 inches. Now, it's an awkward thing to stab down into somebody's chest when he's more than half a foot taller than you are.
Give me that thing, huh? You won't be satisfied till you see this again, so I'm going to give you a little demonstration. Somebody get up. Okay. Watch this, please. I don't want to have to do it again. I'm about 6 or 7 inches shorter than you, right?
Yeah, maybe even a little more.
Well, let it be more.
Hey!
Buddy! You.
Calm down. Nobody's hurt, right?
Nobody's hurt.
Now, there's your angle. Take a look at it. Down and in. That's the way I would stab a taller man, and that's the way it was done. Now go ahead. Tell me I'm wrong.
Down in. That's how it's done.
Wait a minute. Let me see that. This is a stiletto. It's not a switchblade. The Haitians I grew up with them.
You ever seen them used in a fight?
Too many of them. On my stoop in my backyard, and a lot across the street. These came with the neighborhood where I lived. Funny, I wasn't thinking of it. Just to try to forget those things. You can't use this kind of knife that way. You have to hold it like this to release the blade. In order to stab downward, you'd have to change your grip.
Well, how do you use it?
Underhanded. Like this. Anyone who's ever used one of these would never handle it any other way.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. That's why it's made like this.
Well, we all agreed that boy is pretty handy with a knife, right?
Yeah, that's right.
You think he could have made the kind of wound that killed his father?
Not with the experience he'd had using these things. No, I don't think he would. He'd go for him underhanded.
How do you know? Were you in the room when the father was killed?
No, neither was anyone else.
You're giving us a lot of mumbo-jumbo. I don't believe it.
I don't think you can determine what type of wounds this boy might or might not have made simply because he knows how to handle a knife.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know.
How about you?
Listen, I'll tell you something. Now, I'm a little sick of this whole thing already, you know? I mean, all this yapping is getting us nowhere. So I'm going to break it up here. I'm changing my vote to not guilty.
You what?
You heard me. I've had enough.
You've had enough. That's no answer.
Hey, listen, you just worry about yourself.
He's right. That is not an answer. What kind of a man are you? You have been sitting here voting guilty with everyone else because there are a couple of baseball tickets burning a hole in your pocket, and now you say you're going to change your vote because you've had enough with all the talking?
Oh, listen, buddy,
You cannot do this. You cannot play like this with a man's life. What's wrong with you? It is a terrible and ugly thing to do. Do you not care?
Wait a minute. You can't talk like that to
I
me.
can talk like that to you. Now, if you want to vote not guilty, then do it because you are convinced that the man is not guilty, not because you've had enough. If you want to vote guilty, then vote that way. Or don't you have the guts to do what you think is right?
Hey, now listen, buddy. You just
Guilty or not guilty?
I told you, not guilty.
What?
God damn you. I don't have to tell you anything.
Yes, you do. Say it. Why?
I don't think he's guilty.
Mr. Foreman, I wish to call for another vote.
All right, gentlemen. Another vote is called for. And the quickest way is a show of hands. Anybody object? All those in favor of not guilty, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8. 9. All those voting guilty, raise your hand. 1, 2. 3. The vote is 9-3 in favor of not guilty.
I don't understand you people. I mean, all these little picky points you keep bringing up don't mean nothing. They don't mean nothing. How can you believe his story? You're an intelligent man, and you're not going to tell me that you're not. You know the facts of life. Just look at what we're dealing with here. You know him. You know this kid. And This guy over here, I don't know what the hell is going on with him. All that talk about psychiatrists. Maybe he ought to go to one. Now look, let's talk facts. These people are born to lie. Now that's the way they are, and no intelligent man's going to tell me otherwise. They don't know what the truth is. You take a look at them. They're different. They think different, they act different, and they don't need some big excuse to kill somebody either. When it's true, everybody knows it. Smoking that crack. Nothing but crackheads. Look at it. Smart guy. Off the town. What does that mean? Slamming the door. Anyway, these people, they get all drugged out, and bang! All of a sudden, somebody's lying dead in the gutter. Okay, look, nobody's blaming them for it. That's just the way they are by nature. You know what I mean? They're violent. And human life don't mean as much to them as it does to us. Where you going? Where you going? Look, while you're in there, maybe you ought to clean out your ears. Maybe you can hear something. Now look, listen to me now. These sticks, they stay high on dope and they fight all the time. Look, if somebody gets killed, so somebody gets killed. They don't care. They breed like animals. Okay, sure, that's some good things about them. Look, I'm the first guy to tell you that. I've known some who are okay, but that's the exception.
You know you're a sick man.
Sick?
Why don't you sit down?
You old son of a bitch. Who are you? Now, who the hell is he to tell me that? Sick. Look at him. He can hardly stand up. No, I'm speaking my piece here today, and you're going to listen. You shut up. You sit down. There's not one that's any good. Not one! You hear that? Sympathetic bastard. And you at the window, you so goddamn smart. We're facing a danger, don't you know that? These wetbacks are multiplying like rabbits. They come over here illegally, and they're multiplying 5 times faster than my people. That's 5 times, brothers. And they're wild animals. They're against us. They hate us. They want to destroy us. They come over here, and they benefit from everything that we built. That's right. Don't look at me like that. There's a danger. We are living in a dangerous time, brother. If we don't smack them down, if we don't do something every chance we get, then they're going to own us. They're going to breed us out of existence. Shut up. I'm warning you. You listen to me. I'm telling you, this boy on trial, we got him. We got him. That's one at least. I say that we get him before his kind gets us. I don't give a damn about the law. Why should I? They don't. Now I'm telling you.
I've heard enough. You just stop all this.
Come on, wake up, man. We can make a difference here.
Sit down. And don't open your filthy mouth again.
All right, gentlemen. Let's finish what we started.
You've made some excellent points. The last one in which you proved that the boy couldn't have made the kind of overhand step wound was very persuasive. But I still believe the boy is guilty of murder. I have 2 reasons. One, the evidence given by the woman across the street who actually saw the murder committed.
And how? As far as I'm concerned, that's the most important testimony in the whole case.
2, the fact that the woman described the stabbing by saying she saw the boy raise his arm over his head, right arm, and plunge the knife down into his father's chest. She saw him do it the wrong way.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
So let's talk about this woman for a minute. She said that she went to bed at about 11 o'clock that night. Her bed was next to the window. She could look out while lying down and see directly into the boy's window across the street. She tossed and turned for over an hour, unable to fall asleep. Finally, she turned towards the window at about 10 minutes after 12, and as she looked out, she saw the killing through the windows of the passing headway. She says the lights went out immediately after the killing, but that she got a good look at the boy in the act of stabbing his father.
You know, as far as I can see, this is unshakable testimony.
That's what I mean. It's the whole case.
What do you think? What about you?
Well, I don't know. There's so many things to sift through. This is pretty complicated business.
Frankly, I don't see how we can vote for acquittal.
Well, it's just not easy to arrange the evidence in order.
You can throw out all the other evidence. The woman saw him do it. What else do you want?
Well, maybe...
Let's vote on it.
All right, gentlemen, another vote is called for. Anyone object?
I'm changing my vote. I think he's guilty.
Anybody else?
What makes you consider this one vote a personal triumph?
I'm the competitive type. Here's what I think. I think we're a hung jury. Let's take it inside to the judge.
What? You didn't want a hung jury before.
Well, I do now.
I don't understand that. You thought it was immoral.
I don't anymore. People in here so goddamn stubborn. We'll never get this done. We'll be here for a week. And, I want to hear an argument. I say we're a hung jury. Well, come on. You're the leader of the cause. What about it?
Let's go over it again.
We went over it again. J. Walter Thompson over here has been bouncing back and forth like a ping pong ball.
Oh, wait a minute. You don't have to call
I
me.
apologize. On my knees. Come on. Let's get out from under this thing, huh?
All right. Maybe we can talk about setting some kind of a time limit. What's the time? 6:15. Right after 6. Someone before mentioned 7 o'clock. I think that's the point at which we might begin to discuss the question of whether we are hung jury or not.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Don't you feel well?
Oh, I feel perfectly well. Thank you very much. I was saying 7 o'clock would
The
be a
reason I asked was that you were rubbing your nose. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you made a gesture that reminded me of one of the
I was
witnesses.
trying to settle something here. Do you mind?
I think this is important.
Okay, go ahead. Please, go ahead.
Thank you. I hope you'll forgive me for this, but I was wondering why. Why were you rubbing your nose like that?
Come on now, will you please?
Right now, I'm talking to this gentleman here. Now, why were you rubbing your nose?
Well, if it's any of your business, I was rubbing it because it bothers me.
Is it because of your eyeglasses?
It is, yes, it is. Could you get onto something else, please?
Your eyeglasses make those deep impressions on the side of your nose.
Yes.
I hadn't noticed that before. They must be annoying.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, yeah. Very, very annoying.
I wouldn't know about that. I've never worn eyeglasses. 2020.
Come on with the optometrist bit already.
The woman who testified that she saw the killing had those same deep marks on the side of her nose.
Whoa. Did you see that?
Please, just a minute. Please, just a minute. I'll be finished. I don't know if any of you noticed that. I didn't think about it then. But I've been going over her face in my mind. She had those marks. She kept rubbing them in court.
Right. She did do that a lot. She didn't have long.
This woman was about 45 years old, making a tremendous effort to look 35, for her first public appearance. Dyed hair, heavy makeup, and brand new clothes, which would have been more suitable on a younger woman. And no eyeglasses. See if you can get a mental picture of it.
What do you mean, no glasses? You don't know if she wore glasses just because she was rubbing her nose?
He had those marks. I saw them.
So what? What do you think that means?
I saw them too. He's right. Well, I was the closest one to her.
What?
She had those marks.
What point are you trying to make here?
She had them. That's the point I'm trying to make. She had those marks.
She had dyed hair And marks on her nose. I'm asking you, what does that mean?
Could those marks have been made by anything other than eyeglasses?
No, they couldn't.
What are you saying? I didn't see any marks.
I did, yes, I did. Strange. I didn't think about it before, strange.
What about the lawyer? Why didn't he say anything?
Look, there's 12 people in here that have been concentrating on this case, and 11 of us didn't think of it.
All right, Clarence Darrow. What about the district attorney? You think he'd try to pull a trick like that, let her testify without glasses?
Haven't you ever met a woman who needed glasses but didn't want to wear them because she thought it ruined her looks?
Yeah, my wife. I'm telling you, she walks out of the house, she takes off her glasses, she puts them in her purse, she walks down the street, she starts bumping into shit.
Maybe the district attorney didn't know either.
Just what I was going to say.
All right. She had marks on her nose. I'm giving you that. From glasses. She never wore them out of the house so that everybody would think she was gorgeous. But when she saw the kid kill his father, she was in the house, alone.
Do you wear your glasses when you go to bed?
No one wears eyeglasses to bed, no one.
Then it's logical to say that she wasn't wearing hers in bed either.
How do you know?
I don't know. I'm just guessing. And I'm also guessing that when she glanced out the window, she didn't put her glasses on either. She herself said that she just looked out the window, the murder took place, and 1 split second later, the lights went out. She wouldn't have had time to put her glasses on then.
Wait a second.
And here's another guess. Maybe the woman honestly thought she saw the boy kill his father. I say she only saw a blur.
How do you know what she saw? How does he know these things? You don't know what kind of glasses she wore. Maybe she was farsighted. Maybe there were sunglasses. What do you know about it?
I only know that the woman's eyesight is in question now.
She had to identify a person 60 feet away in the dark without glasses.
You can't send someone off to die on evidence like that.
No, give me that.
You don't think it's possible that the woman made a mistake?
No.
It's not possible.
No, it's not possible.
Number 12, is it possible?
Yes, it's possible. The kid's not guilty?
Number 10, do you think he's guilty?
Yes, I think he's guilty. But I couldn't care less. You smart bastards. You do whatever you want.
How do you vote?
I vote not guilty. Do whatever you want.
You are the worst son. I think he's guilty.
Does anyone else think he's guilty?
No, I'm convinced.
What's the matter with you?
I now have a reasonable doubt.
It's 11 to 1.
What about all that other evidence? The knife, all that other stuff, the whole business.
You said we could throw out all the other evidence.
You're alone.
I don't care whether I'm alone or not. It's my right.
It is your right.
What do you want? I say he's guilty.
We want to hear your arguments.
I gave you my arguments.
But we're not convinced. We want to hear them again. We have as much time as it takes.
Everything. Every single thing that went on in that courtroom, but I mean everything, says he's guilty. What do you think I am, an idiot or something? You lousy bunch of bleeding hearts.
Well, you're not going to intimidate me. I am entitled to my opinion. I can sit in this goddamn room for a year.
Somebody say something. Look, why don't you take all that stuff about the old man who lived there, who heard everything, or the knife?
What? Just because he found one just like it, the old man saw him on the stairs. What difference does it make how many seconds it took? What is the difference?
Every single thing. The knife.
falling through a hole in his pocket. You can't prove he didn't get to the door. Sure, you can hobble around here all you want, but you can't prove it. I'm telling you, every single thing has been twisted and turned in here. That business about the eyeglasses. You don't know whether she wore glasses. The woman testified in court. What do you want? That's it. That's the whole case. And the whole thing about the boy yelling out. The phrase was, I am going to kill you. And he said it to his own father. I don't care what kind of a man that was. It was his father. God damn rotten kid. I know what they're like. I know what they can do. I know how they can kill you every day. My God. Don't you see? Why am I the only one who sees? Jesus! I can feel the knife going in.
He's not your boy. He's somebody else.
Let him live.
All right. Not guilty.
We've reached a verdict.
Okay, gentlemen, take your seats in the jury box.